Hello, everybody. weebrabbit here, and welcome back to the Otaku Overload podcast, episode 62. This week, we have some stuff to discuss when it comes to anime, which should be pretty fun, especially because we are going to talk about the conclusion of an anime that totally went off the rails. I'm excited to hear the Legend of Jonathan's thoughts on this. We'll have to see how that goes. But there's also, some other anime to talk about, both good and bad. So it's going to be an episode filled with anime discussion. It's going to be a episode filled with some video game company discussion. So, pretty good stuff. Legend of Jonathan, of course, is my co-host. You heard him laughing earlier, which I think already is hinting at, what he's going to talk about, how that went. But I'll still let you introduce yourself. How you doing?
Hey guys, it's me, the Legend Jonathan. I am back once again for episode 62. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, this anime was very interesting. I'll say that, and I'm excited to get into this.
All right. So, what we're talking about should be no surprise. You've heard him talk about it just about every week. Drawing the Franxx.
Yeah.
And Legend Jonathan surprised me because he had been taking it, 2 episodes at a time, 1 episode at a time, that sort of thing. But apparently he blew through the rest of the episodes. It's 24 episodes. So in this chunk, you watch from episode 17 through 24, right?
Yep, and one day as well.
All right. So you definitely, just jumped into it. That's good, I guess. So what do you want to tell the people? How did that go? I guess let's start there.
Oh my days. So there's 2 chunks. There's the first chunk, which is weird that it was good enough. Like it felt like okay, this is just like whatever, and it didn't feel bad, and it didn't feel boring. It was like pretty entertaining. Oh my god, those last 4 episodes though, and I'm about to get to that later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for you, you're seeing the last 4 episodes. So 20 to 24 is where it kind of got weird.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds about right. But we'll get to that in a moment, I guess. Okay, cool. So start from where you left off, I guess. Last time it was episode 16. That's the one where all of, Squad 13 was abandoned, and, 02 and Hero were doing really well. Kokoro and Mitsuru were getting closer, right? All that good stuff.
Yeah.
So what happens? What happens after that?
Okay, so episode 17 starts off with, oh my god, this is like the first thing that happens. The Nines show up out of nowhere and tell them that they're there to basically save them, basically, and that Papa has plans for them, and that, yeah, they're not abandoned, basically. And while this is happening, basically everyone's like, oh my god, we're not abandoned. There's some weird stuff of Hero, how he has horns for some reason now, I guess, but he's hiding it. And the Nines are just chilling with the freaking Squad 13, And obviously we know that the Nines are kind of suspicious anyways. They basically do is they find Kokoro's little book about human reproduction and stuff. And they basically snitch on Kokoro, basically. And they even question her and say, like, hey, what the hell? Like, why are you interested in this stuff? And she explains that, it seems very interesting finding out that, the possibility is that Papa never made them, And the Nines are like, we don't give a shit. We're gonna snitch on you. You're in trouble, and we might as well, yeah, everything about you, like you suck. You know what I mean? Like, why would you be interested in all this filth, basically? And so they do rat her out. She ends up crying because basically Nana and the freaking what's his name, Hachi, they come out of nowhere, and they kind of are like, oh, this was all a test. And we were watching you, and we saw how you liked Mitsuru, and yeah, you're basically grounded, basically.
You're grounded.
Yeah, basically, but like more intense,
Yeah, I got you.
And then she runs off, and she starts crying, And then Mitsuru feels bad because, he knows about this whole thing, and they were there when she expressed why she was interested in it, And he tries to cheer her up and say, like, hey, don't cry and stuff. And then he expresses like he likes her back. And oh my God, he also wants to have a kid with her specifically. And yeah, they off camera, they do the devil's tango, basically.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's episode 17. Quick little
Okay.
summary of it. And
Okay.
it's called Eden, by the way.
Okay.
And then episode 18, which is called When the Sakura Blooms, it starts off with the two of them waking up. And basically, um, after they wake up, basically Ichigo, like it shows like it cuts to him and that Hachi tells him that Squad 13 got to get like taken from that area and they're gonna be taken to like the giant little I don't even know what's called, but we'll just say like the main headquarters, basically. Like I've never been able to pronounce the name, so I just kind of call it the main headquarters, and that's where they're gonna be, right? And so he's like, no, because this is our home. But he's like, too bad, you have no choice. Pack your stuff and leave. And so they decide that because they know that Kokoro and Mitsuru love each other, they're gonna make a wedding for them. And they decided to make a little wedding for them. There's some other stuff with like other people that they're having stuff too, like that girl, 𝐬𝐤𝐤, the serious girl, she's kind of sick. And then she confesses her love to Ichigo.
Yeah, that's where we
And
find out. That's why she never seemed too interested in her partner or what guy she was paired with. And that's why she was so interested in Ichigo, right? Because we find out that like,
yeah.
oh, she's a lesbian or whatever. So like, okay, interesting.
Mhm. And she says that like basically some stuff that the Nines had told Kokoro, she agreed with them, but she didn't want to say anything. And so that's why like she kind of reacted in the last episode, she kind of reacted very negatively. Like she got really mad. It's because she wanted to agree, but she wanted to defend her friends. You know what I mean? And basically, what happens is that she confesses her love and all that stuff, but it doesn't go well. And they try to like do the little wedding for Kokoro and Mitsuru and Photoshi. He's like the priest because he wanted to be the priest. And freaking the Nines, aka the freaking knockoff Ginyu Force, they come in and they send in the whole the SWAT team, to literally like arrest everyone. Literally.
Nice.
Yeah. And so everyone's arrested and it sucks. And then basically we see some stuff about how Nana and what's his name?
Hachi.
Damn, Hachi, how they used to be parasites when they were younger, and that I guess like her partner died, and that left her kind of like traumatized. And then basically they arrive at the little like the headquarters, like they move in there, the main group, and for some reason, because they had arrested them, they wiped Mitsuru and Kokoro's memories, and so
Dang.
they don't remember anything other than, hey guys, you guys are a part of the squad. We know you guys. Only difference is that apparently Mitsuru and Kokoro didn't even know who they were. Like they never met before that. And so they were like, no, we don't know who we are, all that stuff. And yeah. Then episode 19 is um basically it's about how it's basically Dr. Franxx's backstory. And it goes back to like 2025, which oh my god, it's next year.
Pretty
Um
random.
I know, right? And basically, he was a scientist. That he was famous for some work that he did on like human research. He hired by the company which Papa runs, which is Ape, and they wanted him to research human immortality and other stuff like that. He makes some friends there at the company. He becomes acquainted with some girl named Karina Milsa, and basically they become apart. They become like a yeah, like they become infatuated with each other and stuff like that. They both want to have a kid, mostly her though. Him, he kind of just doesn't want to be on that side, but he still does it for her. um and while this is happening, the Galactosaurs wake up sometime later in like 2000 like 40 something. And he starts trying to make like the freaking dark like Franxx. That doesn't go well because she gets killed. And then eventually they find that the Klaxosaurs have like a main base. And not only do they have a main base, but it seems like they have a princess, and her name's just the Klaxosaur princess. And she kills everyone around Dr. Franxx because he went with like a squad. And Dr. Franxx, being I guess mentally like broken by this point, like he's really messed up in the head by this point, he ends up liking her. And she tears off his arm and all this other stuff. And it's found out that he escapes, right? Like from like that whole interaction with her. But he took a piece of her hair with him. And using that piece of hair, he was able to create a clone of her, which is implied to be 02, because he even says Zero to the clone. And then we go back to the present, and Hiro is talking to and the others are talking to Papa, saying like, hey, like you guys need to restore like Mitsuru and Kokoro's memories. And they said that no, that it's gonna be impossible to restore them. And then Squad 13 even questions them about if they're gonna become adults or not. And there's nothing, right? So then they say, okay, well then you clearly don't care about us. Then after this whole thing you're gonna send us on, because it's implied that there was like this huge mission. That's why they got sent to like the main base. They're like, okay, well then after this you have to set us free, basically. And so Papa says, okay, well if that's the case and you win, then yeah, we're gonna set you free. And then this is where it gets weird, because now we're entering episode 20.
Oh, okay, yeah. So up to now, okay, this is what you were saying and what I had kind of been saying from the beginning too. So from episode 1 to 16, I would say it's pretty good. I would say it would have been nice if it ended at episode like 15 or 16, because we get the resolution of the whole Hiro and 02 thing. They're officially together. Everyone's like friends. 02 joins the squad. They had like a major victory against the Klaxosaurs. All that good stuff. And I think you can see what I mean now, right? If that ended like at like 15 or 16, that would have been pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Then 17, 18, and 19, maybe even a bit of 20. You kind of see what I mean now, right? That's like, okay, it's starting to get weird with the whole, backstory that feels really out of nowhere, and it feels like not that well thought out.
The Kokoro stuff's a little weird.
And then, the whole thing with Kokoro and Mitsuru and how they want to have a kid, and there's like really like dying to have a child for some reason is like kind of weird.
14 to 50.
Yeah, right. So it's like really weird, but at least it's kind of like, okay, it still feels fine. It's not great. It's starting to kind of like get weird, kind of go downhill a bit, but it's still fine, right? Okay, so from 20 to 24, go ahead and tell people how it goes off the rails. At least like at the beginning of 20 is probably okay, right?
Yeah.
But
okay.
start explaining, how it goes off the rails, basically.
Okay, so basically, they're like from the beginning to like the end, it's okay. There's a war, they're fighting the Klaxosaurs. It's supposed to be like the final fight. Everyone's fighting, whatever. Then
they even have like a whole thing against the Klaxosaur princess and stuff, right? Which is kind of interesting because Klaxosaur princess versus 02, and 02 was made out of the Klaxosaur princess. So it's like an interesting fight, I guess, right?
Yeah, and so basically that's what happens like near the middle to end. Basically, the Klaxosaur princess comes in out of nowhere, and she's like, "Yeah, you guys are like filth, And she even calls like 02 like a like an imposter, not like a faker like Sonic. Well, I want to apply that, by the way. She calls her like a straight up imposter and says that she's nothing like the humans or even like the Klaxosaurs. And she rips her out of the freaking Strelitzia and like drops her on the floor. And she just overtakes Strelitzia with Hiro. And it's like, okay, well, this is kind of weird. How is it that like, why would she be able to just connect with the Franxx? You know what I mean? And yeah, she takes over it and it creates this new like Strelitzia that's a blue and it's all weird. And she tells Hiro, okay, we need to get to like the bottom of the main, right? And you're like, why? She just out of nowhere states, once they get to like the freaking whatever, she's like, because the reality is that you guys aren't the bad guys, and neither are we. It's these aliens from space called Verm. And the aliens just show up out of nowhere near the end of the episode.
Okay, and it gets better.
Yeah, and so you're just, what the, and I was surprised. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why? Why would you guys just do that? It's so like everyone just teams up to fight the aliens now, including the Klaxosaur. Like, and for no reason. And so not only the Verm, the bad guys, but then it's found out in the same exact episode, Papa and like two other members of the freaking ape team, like the top people, they were aliens, that they were the Verm. And that not just that they were the Verm, but Verms don't have physical forms, apparently. And so the other like 6 people on the team, they were like legit people who like literally were convinced that this was all like good stuff that they were doing, basically.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah,
So
basically.
just to like, just imagine it this way, guys. So we're fighting the Klaxosaurs. We're fighting the Klaxosaur princess. She takes over 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐿. She's leading Hero, and she's like, oh, when they get to like where it looks like she's leading them, because you guys aren't the enemy. And we're not the enemy. The actual enemy is Verm. And then Verm shows up, and it's like these aliens that are above Earth and spaceships, and they start shooting and stuff, right? And then out of nowhere, Ape. There's like 9 members, 8 members, whatever. 3 of them just go, our people need us. And the rest of the members are like, wait, what? You guys are aliens? And then like these balls of light drop their masks and cloaks and stuff, and just like float up into the spaceships.
Yeah,
it's like, what the hell? It's like so random.
I'm telling you, I was paying so much deep attention. So at the moment the Klaxosaur princess said that, I was like, wait, and I paused the episode when it showed like the Verm in the space, and I said, I screamed, because that's the thing. My family was gone, by the way. They left, and I took advantage to watch it in the living room. And I got to the episode, I'm like, what the fuck? Because I was like, no, there's no way it ends like that. Like it's such a weird. Why? Like, why would you just do that so last minute?
So random, just last minute surprise twist. Enemy from space. The Klaxosaurs weren't actually the bad guys. It was all a part of Verm's plan, that they had a war against the Klaxosaurs, and the Klaxosaurs, I guess, defeated them and like made them retreat. So they were using the humans to help them fight the Klaxosaurs for them. And I don't know, it's just so random, so weird, doesn't really make sense. It just gets better from there. So keep going. So what happens next in episode 21?
Okay, in 21, it's basically okay, they're fighting, whatever. Hero ends up basically I don't know what the hell he does, but then he like kind of stalls time for like the Klaxosaur princess, where like he talks most of the time and a bunch of other bullshit. And then 02, her mission is to team up with Dr. Franxx to kind of get to the freaking to Hero, and everyone helps her. And then it's also explained by Dr. Franxx, basically the Nines were created using 02's freaking DNA. So yep, the Ginyu Force is just 02's freaking clones for no reason.
Wait, no, weren't they all made from the Klaxosaur princess?
Well, I know we're looking at the wiki page and it says that, but literally, in freaking at the end of this episode and after this, they just say that it's specifically 02's DNA.
Okay. So
I think it's implying that it's just the main source, the original source, would be the princess, but that because 02's the perfect clone, they just used her more as the freaking how do you call it, drawing board? I guess you would say.
Okay, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah,
sort of.
I know, right? Okay, and then they do reunite, and oh my god, this is where it gets weird. Basically, 02, Hero, and the princess all team up. The princess dies for no reason, and she says that 02 and Hero must be a perfect couple, whatever, right? They fuse once again, basically, with the Strelitzia to make a new version called Strelitzia Appalus. It's not really anything special. And then basically the Vern decide to retreat, and they celebrate the people on Earth. But then Hero finds out that 02's not there. And that's basically episode 21.
And yeah, that's where it gets even weirder. Wait. So they just won, but something's wrong with 02. She's not there. She's looks like she's in a coma. She's catatonic.
Yeah.
So that's where it gets even weirder.
Yeah.
Okay, so now go to episode 22. It just gets better from here. It starts getting weirder and weirder. The decisions they start making are baffling.
It's so bad.
Okay, so what happens in episode 22? It looks like they won, but there's a whole thing with 02. So what happens next?
Okay. The Klaxosaurs go to space, and then Strelitzia Appalus by itself goes to space with them. And so it's okay, what the fuck? Why is Strelitzia leaving, And
what? Okay, but sure. And then what happens next?
Okay, and all these motherfuckers, they decide to be okay, we're gonna rebuild society ourselves. And for a while, it's okay, it's going not so great, but it's going. It's not so great, not so good, but it's not like, oh my God, we're screwed and we're gonna die within like 2 seconds. And so they're doing all this stuff, and freaking Zero Two is like in a weird coma state. And what's weird is like randomly Zero Two gets wounds out of nowhere, which again, that's also weird too. Um, and then Kokoro throughout these few days in this episode, because it's like a bit of a few days, she throws up multiple times, and
So of course she's preggers, of course.
yeah, she's pregnant because apparently the whole thing with like I don't know, there's like a new Nana now and blah blah blah. And what happens is
that goes nowhere. That goes nowhere. So that's why you're just blowing through it. Like the whole thing with Hachi and Nana, and there's a new Nana and all this bullshit. That literally adds nothing.
Exactly.
It's just thrown in.
Why, exactly. Yeah. So she informs them that okay, Kokoro's pregnant, and she's freaking out because she's like, why am I pregnant? Because again, she doesn't remember.
Oh, that's right. I was like, how did she's the one who wanted it. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And Mitsuru, it's weird because it's like it's implied that he doesn't remember, but he does. Because when he finds out Kokoro's pregnant, he's freaking out. Like the most. Like he's the one that's like legit on the floor, like legit about to die, basically. And so it seems like, like he knows, like, oh my God, like I must be the dad then. And basically for some reason, Hachi and Nana, they find this like freaking facility. Again, they have no importance except for it's like one thing. They find a facility where, for some reason, there's parasites. This is great. Where they're basically in little hotel beds, and Naomi from episode 1 is there.
Yeah, so the whole time we thought she died. It's like, no, they didn't have the balls to kill her off. They like implied it. She was just in stasis this whole time.
Exactly.
And this is like where all the parasites that they're going to use, I guess this is where they're being stored until they need them. So it's like, okay, I guess. Probably Dr. Franxx, even though he seemed like the antagonist a lot of the time, like he was very iffy. It's like, no, he was actually a good guy. And he even said, take care of these parasites. I had stored them here for like their own like safety, I guess. Like it's really weird.
It's so
like,
weird.
They can't decide if Dr. Franxx is like a good guy or a bad guy. It's like so weird.
Yeah. And then
anyway, get to the good part. So what happens? What does Hero realize about Zero Two and why she's in kind of
I was about to get to that. Basically, for some reason, because she has the wounds happening on her body, and she's over here standing here all like comatose. Oh my God, this is like some Kingdom Hearts bullshit. She's in space. Her mind's in space.
Yeah, it's inside the Strelitzia. That's why Strelitzia flew off. Because for some reason, we don't even know how, Zero Two's mind is now inside
Strelitzia.
The mech. And so her body is just like an empty shell on Earth.
That's what I'm saying. That's like some Kingdom Hearts bullshit right there. Yeah. And then she's over there fighting Vermin with the Laxosaurs, and so he tells everyone, okay, guys, I'm going to space. And everyone's mad, saying that he's selfish and that he's a little bitch, basically. He never cares about what they have. And in the end, they're like, no, you're a little bitch. That's true. But we're going to go with you to save, what's it called? Like help Zero Two and all that crap, right? Okay. Not only this, but Mitsuru and Kokoro can't go because Kokoro's pregnant and Mitsuru... Which that's the thing, right? Like, why can't Kokoro go? Because apparently in order to pilot a Franxx, you need to have, like, genitals and a bunch of other stuff. And I guess since she has, like, a child in her wound, I guess that's going to screw over the whole connection thing, I guess.
Because why not, right?
Yes, why not,
sure,
right?
Why not, I guess? Like, if you say so, anime, why not?
Yeah, because apparently, like, in the Dr. Franxx episode, like, I kind of skipped over it because, again, it's not really that important as much. It's implied that, in order to pilot a Franxx, you need freaking reproductive system. You need to be with 2 people. It has to be a male and a female.
But does it though? Does it have to be a male and female?
That's what I'm going to get to too. Okay. And so, they're about to go, right? But then the Nines, for the past few episodes, they've been little bitches because basically since they're clones of Zero Two, I guess, like, the only purpose they have is kind of to be, like, fucking aroused from fighting. And so these guys are sleep deprived and stuff of not fighting all the time. And so they're like, no, we're going with you to help, what's it called? 𝐬𝐤𝐤, which is, Zero Two. And they're like, we're technically clones of hers, So if we're gonna go and like fight, we're gonna like go and kill ourselves basically with you guys. And so they
Yeah,
go.
so it's like what?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's
Okay.
like so they're good guys, kind of like it's really confusing. It's really
Yeah,
weird.
it's such a weird. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
and real quick before that, because I don't know if you're gonna mention this. Okay, remember how that was the whole thing about Mitsuru? He wanted to pilot with Hiro, and it looked like we were wondering, is that ever gonna go anywhere?
They never do that. They never do
So
that.
this is the chance for him to be like, okay, since Hiro doesn't have 02, he doesn't have his partner that he needs to fly a spaceship. You would think this is when Mitsuru can finally step up and he can get together with Hiro and serve as the what do you call it? The whatever 02's part is, right? The usually the girl part, right? He can like step in and he can be the one that teams up with Hiro and finally like fulfill that promise they made, right?
Yeah.
No, he just
Yeah,
has
it
to stay
doesn't
on
go
Earth.
anywhere.
He
It
has to
doesn't
stay.
go anywhere.
Yeah, he stays on Earth because he wants to be with Kokoro. And instead, one of the random nines is the one that teams up with Hiro.
Yeah, it's the blonde dude, the freaking Captain Ginyu motherfucker.
So it's
Basically,
like so again, stuff that they set up that seems like it means something and it means nothing.
it means nothing. Yeah. And so basically that's what happens. So yeah, episode 23, because you just mentioned it right now, they go into space, they leave Kokoro and Mitsuru and 02's body behind.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's so stupid. Okay. They go into space, right? And freaking Hiro partners with 9 Alpha, which is the blonde dude. And they go and they get into Strelitzia Apis, and oh my god, this is so stupid. 9 Alpha sacrifices himself. He says it was fun while I lasted. He blows up Michael Bay style, basically. And okay, he connects with what's it called? Yeah, wait, no. Yeah, this doesn't happen yet. So the Verm are doing their shit, basically, saying that they're gonna kill people. Nana and Hachi are doing some other bullshit with like a computer. Typical anime and video game stuff, like where
Yeah.
like they're monitoring back on Earth. Okay, then Kokoro and Mitsuru, they're basically over here on Earth trying to like connect with each other, even though they're, it's fucking
Their
hopeless.
their memories been wiped in there, so they don't even like really know what's up. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like the only thing is that Mitsuru still promises her that he doesn't care, but it's obvious that like he knows himself, he can feel that that's like his child, and that whatever that the Squad 13 kept telling them was important between them, that he's gonna still do it either way, and the two of them basically do fall in love with each other at that moment, which yeah, okay, and then freaking Hiro gets into the Strelitzia Apis, and he does reunite with 02. 02 tells him that why the hell is he there, and that he's mad because basically, him being like the clone of the princess, no, her being the clone of the princess, she was going to fulfill like her role of like being the leader and all that. But he says, no, fuck that, you need to be with me. And she's like, you know what, you're right. So then they team up and freaking fuse again, and they freaking go a level beyond, not even ironic, literally, and they transform into Strelitzia True Apis, which is like this ugly mother.
Oh yeah, because you gotta explain. You gotta explain. So Strelitzia, it's always they've all the mechs. They've always looked like girls, right? Like big, huge robot waifus. But this one, it's special because it has 02's face,
and her
she's
boobs?
wearing a wedding dress. Because get it? It's like they finally got together,
Consummated, basically.
Yeah, it's like the official, perfect, union of two people. So it's like a huge mech that looks like her, but like really stupid, and it's wearing like a wedding dress. Because get it?
Yeah. And that's what I was gonna say. It's such a creepy looking thing because it's her face and she can talk and whatever. And yeah, it's like a wedding dress and whatever. And like she has these big boobs, like I guess to like, because it's a wedding dress and all this other crap. And basically, yeah, it's just a weird giant humanoid thing. And Hiro's inside of her, basically. Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they're like, okay, let's do this. And basically, they do like a giant like Kamehameha out of her forehead together, and the Verms are like, "Holy shit, we have to like escape again." And for some reason, she says that she can create a wormhole, like a warp gate, and that they have to grab this weird bomb that she creates out of nowhere, and they have to go and basically travel across the universe to destroy Verm using it. Oh, and it was created by humanoid Klaxosaur people thousands of years ago that fought the freaking Verm, and they had Franxx of their own. And
Because
that
why not? Again, at
and
this
the
point, it's like,
Klaxosaurs,
why not?
yeah, and the Klaxosaurs were the freaking Franxx, basically. Like they were the Klaxosaur Franxx. So we were killing basically humanoid people inside of mechs this whole time. And not actual
Again,
like dinosaur things, basically.
again, sure, why not?
Yeah, sure, why not?
At
Okay,
this point, I
so
don't know where the hell they're going with this. It's just so much baffling choices of story and
my brain hurt, bro, when I was watching it.
yeah. And then for some reason, this episode 23 was again called Darling in the Franxx.
Yeah. So
I mean,
can you imagine
supposedly in Japanese, it's because it's supposed to be, pronounced kind of differently. But still, why would you have two episodes that are basically the same thing?
Yeah. So can you imagine being like, I watched an episode of Darling in the Franxx called Darling in the Franxx. Which one is that? The first one or is that the
Yeah,
one?
it's so dumb. I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
so episode 24. Let's just, let's
Okay.
wrap this
Okay.
up.
Yeah. Okay. And then this one is that okay? They go to the little wormhole, whatever.
Only
because
here
they-
on 02 though. Everyone else they
Yeah.
go back to Earth because they're
Yeah.
only gonna go this far, obviously, right?
Okay, and then Kokoro gives birth to a baby, and basically Mitsuru and her name it and then Naomi reunites with everyone else. Guru decides to abandon everyone and kind of travel the world, to kind of help everyone else. He does end up being like Ichigo's like partner, like legit, like he kisses her and stuff. And then 2 years pass. And
yeah, that's the thing. This is the thing. Hero and 02 go through the wormhole, and you're like, okay, yeah, because you're like, it's a wormhole, so they're gonna like follow the verm to their planet, right? No, 2 years pass. It just has them flying like assholes through space for 2 years. Why would you put that in your fucking story? Why would you put that as a choice? The whole point of like of traveling through space is that it's boring, so you would want to just like speed things up, right? Why would, as part of your story, why would you include that it takes them 2 years?
No, because the relationship building, though. Apparently, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah, it's such a stupid thing. And then okay, so remember how I mentioned the whole thing with his freaking horns, where that's never going anywhere. So basically, freaking. Hero's over here turning into like a legit Oni over here because he's growing teeth and like the thing, and he's literally dying. But then, in order for this mofo to keep like living, he literally does is he like has to keep looking at like a picture of his friends, and okay, apparently somehow Verm is interfering with Kokoro. I was gonna say Kokoro, Hero and 02's like connection, right? Somehow,
which doesn't make sense because if it's based on like your relationship, then like what? Like how can they interfere? So it's like they can't make their choice. They can't make up their minds if this whole mech power thing is based on like your relationship with the person, your bond, or if it's something else. Because apparently no, Verm can interfere with it. Like what?
Yeah. Okay. And so they're freaking out, whatever. And then back on Earth, is hanging out with the 02 corpse, which is like now a statue for some reason. And Kokoro and Mitsuru are there, and they're like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And then I start saying like 02 and
yeah, the baby, by the way,
yeah.
the baby saying this.
Yeah, somehow she could talk like 2 years later. Yeah, okay. And she's like, "Hey, like 02 need help," and a bunch of other crap. And they're like, "Oh my god, like yeah, she needs help." And so these motherfuckers pull an Earthbound move, and they grab.
Except much more lame.
Except much more
lame, because in Earthbound
right?
It's done so well.
Or even something like different people,
yeah, or even something like the Spirit Bomb is done so well, where like everybody has to like contribute their power to help the protagonist, right?
Here it's that everyone grabs hands like a fucking like world reunion thing, and then they just sit there, look up at the sky, pray, and somehow Hero can hear that, and he's like, "Oh my god, guys! Like I can hear you guys. 02, can you hear them too?" And she's like, "Yes, darling, I can hear them too. We need to like go out with a bang." And so they do like one last like fucking Kamehameha, and they sacrifice themselves, right? It's against the Verm for some reason, because why not? They couldn't just like kill them off. And not only did they fight them off, but they turned literally Super Saiyan. And not only do they turn Super Saiyan, but the stupid little Strelitzia True Apis, it goes back to like the first form basically, but golden.
Yeah,
like completely golden.
Because why not?
Because why not? And so these motherfuckers die. The Verm, I guess, dies too, and they're just like, "Yeah, someday we might come back though." And then for some reason the Klaxosaur, they all come back somehow quickly, because why the fuck not? Because compared to 02 Hero, I don't know, they can travel quicker, I guess, somehow. they go back into the ground, and instead of coming out, they just retire from living. And so they hide in the ground now for some reason. The parasites start celebrating. Everyone's adults now, like 8 years later. For some reason, we find out that everyone had some sort of disease where like their hair would be gray, and it's because they were aging rapidly.
Yeah, that's why supposedly they were never going to make it to adults, if you remember that from earlier.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? They never explained that. That's the reason why I was saying it, because they were being so weird with that, And Naomi, she's just hanging with these guys, and she says something like, man, like looking at this mirror, because how in the first episode she gave the mirror to Hiro. She looks at the mirror and she's like, I can't believe that I had like such importance to all of this. It's like, lady, you were gone for like 23 episodes. You barely had any importance of anything. And so, they're all celebrating whatever. Some people got married to different people. Like Futoshi got married to some lady and has kids and stuff. He's a baker. What's his name? The loud dude, Zorome and Miku. They're like a couple now, and they're like teachers. Everyone has like occupations now and a bunch of stuff. Kokoro and Mitsuru, they have a family, and they celebrate, right? And then for no reason, it skips 1,000 years later, and this kid, he's sitting underneath a blossom tree, like a cherry blossom tree in a city. He's reading a book, and then this little girl runs by with her mom, and she starts like laughing, and the mom tells her like, "Hey, be careful, you're gonna like trip." And she's like, "I will," and she trips. The two kids like meet each other, and it's implied that that's like the reincarnations of Hiro and 02.
Yeah, that's how it ends.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's the last few episodes, guys. Literally, that's it.
This anime, man, it started like a really interesting premise. There's so many plot points that go nowhere or mean nothing. So many baffling choices of like, I don't know what is up with the story. Why did they make these story decisions? Just so much stuff. It is so weird. And I had mentioned it that at least you watched it like way later. Watching it as it came out was wild.
Yeah,
because just like week to week, seeing where this is going and then not only that, but they were trying to hype this thing up so much. Like 2, maybe 3 times they had episodes that were recapping blocks like, oh, here's what happened during like this block of episodes. Here's a recap. Here's a recap of these other episodes. They even had like a special where they like had all the voice actors and they were all talking about their characters and like what it meant to them. And like they really tried to hype this thing up. They tried to make it seem like it was like the next huge thing. And it's just so crazy seeing the direction it went, how stupid it got. Like, oh my god! Like now no one even really talks about this because it's just so. It nosedives so hard. That's so sad. Weird. Like it had some good ideas. It had some interesting, metaphors for like relationships and all this stuff. And it's just, I don't know. It's so weird.
It hurt my
brain
bad. when I watched all those episodes, especially 20 to 24. My brain legit like fried. Like it literally got like it hurt. And I went to bed so disappointed that night because I finished it at really late at night. And when I went to sleep, I was so disappointed. I literally woke up the next morning for school and said, "Why the fuck did that have to be the ending?" Like legit, I literally.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. It's so bad. Yeah. It's so bad. It's so stupid. Like there's these ideas, but they do not land. There's other things that, like we said, do some of these ideas way better. Like the whole everybody unites to like give the heroes power. Earthbound or like
Dragon Ball,
Dragon Ball does that so much better. The whole it escalates to fighting in space. Something like Luren Lagann does it so much better.
Yeah,
that would be my recommendation. That's how we'll end this because I know we've talked about this. Like, holy shit, we've spent so much time just talking about this one anime, but it just needed to be done because it's like a whole thing. Like, there's so much thoughts and stuff.
Yeah,
my thoughts are, again, it should have ended like at episode 15 or 16. If it was going to go farther, I mean, there's still so much better ways it could have been done, right?
Yeah.
However, if you want something that has to do with like mechs and people, teaming up, powering up, all this stuff, it escalates to space, all these things. In order to get the bad taste out of your mouth of Donnie and the Franxx, you should watch Gurren Lagann.
Yeah, I've heard that one's a pretty good one.
And I hope you watch it sometime soon so we can talk about it, maybe even compare these two. because it feels, because Trigger was involved in this. It was, Cloverworks, A1, and Trigger. So they were, it was a collaborative thing. So Trigger was involved in it, but Trigger, which used to be Gainax, Gurren Lagann is like, it's so good. It's so well done. So I hope you watch it next. Get the taste of this out of your mouth, and it has a really good waifu in
𝐿𝐤𝐤𝐿.
yeah, Yoko Littner. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you watch Gurren Lagann sometime soon. That way you can not give up on the mecha, genre, because oh my god, it's just so bad. It's so
Yeah,
bad.
dude, those last 4 episodes broke my head so bad that I literally spent like the next few days like wondering why the hell that had to be like the last 4 episodes. Because I know there could have been some better stuff, you know what I mean? Like legit, like oh my god.
Yeah. Oh boy, but there you go. You got through it. You can see what I mean now. Even though I kind of like warned you, I think it still hit you like a truck, but at least you survived through it. You made your way through it. You can say you watched it and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's like it enriched your life somehow, but at least you got through it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
oh boy, but there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So, like I said, we spent enough time on that. What else did you do this week?
I watched Urusei Yatsura as usual, which honestly good because now we have another duo which consists of a human person and like a weird girl that has horns,
And says Darling.
and says darling, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, this episode is very unique because the second half is a remake of, well, both of them are remakes, but the second one is basically rehauled a lot, and the first one's kind of just a copy and paste, basically.
Yeah.
So the first one is basically, that giant cat, the freaking one that's obsessed with like the little like heating table mats that they have in Japan.
Yeah.
Basically, it's an episode about how for some reason the cat buys a freaking possessed one that Mendo used to have that was like a table. And yeah, Mendo has to like help them out. I think they calm it down by the end where instead of liking heat, it likes cold stuff. So they turn it into a sleigh. That's like basically the first half. The second half is that Lum gets bitten by a cow.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of random. Of all animals, a cow. Why not?
Because they were at a store, basically, like a pet store, and for some reason they had a cow. She gets bitten.
That's even weirder, but okay. That's right, a cow, I guess.
Okay. She gets bitten, and her hand, it gets left a mark. She tries to clean it off, whatever. And she goes to bed, like, watching some, like I would say a novela, basically. Like, literally.
Soap opera, yeah.
Yeah, soap opera. Basically, where it's about Count Dracula, and when he bites people, they turn into vampires, too. And so while this is happening, while she's sleeping, she's having nightmares where she's like, oh my God, like maybe I'll turn into a cow, whatever. She wakes up for like a few minutes to brush her teeth because she's like, oh, I can't go to sleep without brushing my teeth. She sees that her horns have grown longer. She freaks out. Ten sees this and he says, I'm going to go snitch. Mm-hmm. And she tells him no, because then when you tell everyone else, they're going to freak out. And she's like, okay, fine, I won't. This little brat, he still ends up like snitching. And basically everyone just kind of says, oh, well, she's sick, because apparently that's what she says herself, that it must be a sickness, And Lum, she freaks out at one point while like Ataru and her are hanging out, because she says that she's done research and it's implied that no one in the whole entire galaxy and universe has ever gotten sick from a cow and has grown those horns like that. So the implication is that she could turn into a cow, basically.
Okay, that's random.
Yeah, and so she's freaking out. She's crying in the middle of the street, by the way. Like, she's having a full-on, like legit. She's crying her eyes out. And, yeah, she's freaking out. And Ataru says that he's going to love her no matter what. And that he's going to build her a little,
barn or something.
A barn or something. So that no person ever, like, finds her and basically wants to, like, turn her into, like, their next, like, meal, basically. And so at the end, it kind of is implied that Ten learns that no, when Onis get bitten by like cows, which why cows, and I guess it's just they grow their horns. No, not cows. When they get attacked by something that has bacteria, their horns grow bigger because their horns give them energy, like a specific type of antidote to kill off like the virus, basically. And so not only is it she's healthy basically and she's killing off the virus, but she's not turning into a cow. And so Lum
this is a big freak out for nothing.
Yeah, and so decides not to tell Ataru that, she's fine, because if not, he would probably be like, oh, well, never mind. Like, I'm gonna go back to chasing girls. And so that was basically episode shit. What episode is this? Like 22, like episode 25 or 24, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of random, but okay.
Yeah. And the reason why I say it's kind of changed, like I'll quickly change it, is because in the original one, basically they're in a field, and they try to make it more dramatic, where like the way he cries for her is like very humorous and stuff. Here they try to take it more serious, where like the two of them actually bond, and he tries to cheer her up and say like, hey, I'm still gonna love you and all that stuff. And like, the way she freaks out is more dramatic, where like you can tell she's actually really sad about it. Like I was saying, basically they try to purposely make it so in the original anime so that it was like a soap opera moment, basically.
Hmm.
And so that's basically the episode. Yeah. That was like the biggest change.
Interesting. All right. Continues to just be wacky hijinks, I guess. Just really
Yeah.
random, weird stuff. Okay.
Yeah, and then after that I did one last thing, and it's I played a new game. I played Lethal Company with my friend Isaiah.
Oh, nice, nice,
yeah.
nice.
And that was hilarious. Not creepy, actually, considering it's supposed to be like a horror game. It was funny.
Yeah, I've always just seen people like laughing and having like a good time with it. I never even knew it was supposed to be like a horror game, honestly. That's kind of funny to hear. It's supposed to be...
It's really funny. Me and him, we use like the in-game mic, so it's funny because unlike, let's say, like Call of Duty, where you can hear the person consistently, in this game they try to take it more realistically, where like if, let's say, you walk away from me, right? I can't hear you anymore if you're like really far from me, but if you're really close, I can hear you very perfectly.
Oh, so it literally acts like as if the mic was literally attached to like whoever you're playing with, sort of thing. Oh, that's weird. That's a weird approach.
And then let's say you're in a building, right? Well, if you're in a building and you're talking to me, it's echoey. Kind of like when you're inside of an empty building. It's kind of like that.
Huh. That's kind of interesting. That's an interesting approach, actually. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and so basically the way I would summarize it is that it's basically you're on these little planets, you're trying to collect materials, and then there's like monsters everywhere. Some of them are really creepy. Like me and Isaiah ran into like some spiders at one point, and they killed us immediately. We found this giant tremor worm thing that kind of just like leaps out of the ground and tries to kill you. Me and him called that the Alaskan bullworm.
From SpongeBob, yeah.
Yeah, and that killed me. And then eventually he was trying to look for me, and I couldn't talk to him because what happens is when you get killed, you can't talk to the person anymore, unfortunately.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So that's interesting too. So you can hear them and you can see what they're doing, but they can't hear you and they can't see what you're doing.
Yeah, there's some other game that did that too. I can't remember right now, but I know there's some other games.
Among Us?
Yeah, and then there's some other game too. Yeah, there's a few games actually that do that. Yeah, where you can like spectate, but you can't talk to anybody. They literally cut off your mic. That way you can't spoil. I guess you can say, who killed you or what killed you. That way it's more like suspenseful, I guess. So.
And that was the suspenseful part.
Yeah, I got you.
And it was pretty fun. We were learning how to play and stuff. And in summary, I would just say that it was a cool game. And yeah, I had fun, and I would definitely keep playing.
All right. So you had a bad time because of dying in the Franxx, but then your week got better because Urusei Yatsura, you enjoyed it, and Lethal Company, you had fun. So
it fixed everything. Yeah,
it made your week better. All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, my turn. I'll be pretty brief with the first part. I played some stuff that we've mentioned in previous weeks. Played some more Persona 3 Reload, having a good time with that, got farther with it, still loving the changes, think it's really well done, still trying to make my way through it because it's obviously a very huge game. A big part of it's trying to grind, obviously, because of, trying to level up so you can fight stuff. So, still enjoying the game though, still loving that. And man, still just really makes me hope for the future that they release something new in the franchise, soon, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a meme where someone's like, after Persona 3 Reload, instead of getting Persona 6, we get another Persona 5 spinoff.
See, it would be fine if it was like a fighting game again, like how 4 had a fighting game that kind of, showed what the cast has been up to. Like it actually forwarded the story a little bit. I think everybody would be fine if it was that. But if it's something else, I think that's where people would be kind of like, okay, that's enough,
Yeah, so that's what people are saying. But yeah, I actually I haven't played Persona 3 because of like school and because the whole Lethal Company thing was kind of last minute. But yeah, definitely I'm gonna get back to it pretty quick because I have a friend that he told me, he's like, what floor did you get to? And I'm like, floor 5. And he's like, oh my God, dude. He's like, like you do have to catch up with the Tartarus floors and all that stuff because like supposedly there's stuff like with the moon, and that you have to kind of like take the time, like you have to take it kind of like literal, when you're playing the game too. He said a bit.
Oh yeah, you have to you can't just like dilly daddle. There's always like labyrinth stuff that needs to be done in correspondence with the story and all that stuff. You'll see when you play it. Yeah.
That's what he was saying. Like he's like, no, like they just try to be generous about like take your time. They're like, no, like that's just being generous. Like you have to literally like
you can't take forever, basically. Like it's all you have to do like everything in like one day, one session if you don't want to, but you do have to there's like a time
put
limit
a lot
for
of
sure,
effort, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Then also, got back to Palworld, hadn't played that in a while. I had kind of quit playing it because I was trying to play it on my Xbox Series S. And I just kept getting to all sorts of areas where it was just very glitchy. I kept falling through the floor and I just was having a lot of trouble with it, right? Like the game was really broken in some areas and I was having trouble. So I switched to playing it on my PC. Didn't have any of those problems. And I just been playing it on PC and, having some fun with that as well. Played quite a bit of that. So, that was pretty fun. Continuing to enjoy the game. Pretty impressive again. That's still, like a beta or whatever. It's still early release. I know some people are kind of done with it at this point, and I'm still trying to catch up, but I'm curious what else they'll add along the way. You know what I mean? So that'll be interesting to see. So yeah, playing Palworld, still having fun with it, still trying to catch up because I hadn't, played it in a while, that sort of thing. And then I watched 2 new ones that I have not mentioned in previous weeks. And it's crazy how, man, there can be some anime that are super crappy and some that are super good. So starting with the crappy one, I watched one that's called My Instant Death Ability is So Overpowered. And I'll be really brief. Basically, there's this guy, his name is 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤, and he wakes up in a bus, and all around him, everything's destroyed. There's just this girl with little pigtails, and she tries to wake him up. And apparently, she's like his love interest or whatever. Even though they haven't really spoken before, he is interested in her. And we'll talk about that in a moment. And she says that there's this dragon attacking the bus. And we see that he basically says something, but we don't get to hear what it is. It's silent. And the dragon just dies. And then, the girl asks him, what happened? Whatever. She's freaking out. And he says calm down. And he pulls out a switch. And he starts playing. And she's really mad at him. And he's calm down and then we'll talk. And then, you get the whole, OP, right? Comes back from the OP and he's are you calm now? She says, yes. What do you remember? She explains kind of how they got into that field, that, they were going through a tunnel. It was a school trip. Basically, when they got on the other side of the tunnel, they were in some really sunny open field. And then, this girl shows up. She says that she's a sage and her name is Sean. And she just instantly kills the adults for no reason.
What the hell?
Because, it makes sense because, it's an anime and it's high schoolers and, we can't have adults in the way, right? It has to be just kids. I guess that's what I feel like is the excuse, right? And she basically goes, yeah, we need more sages in this world. So that's why we brought all of you here. We isekai'd you here and I'm going to give you all powers. It's like a death game to see who survives and becomes the next sage in our world or something like that. Something like that. I'm not remembering too good. And so they all start glowing except for our main character, 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤, whatever his name is, Tomochika, which is the girl with the pigtails, and 2 other people. And basically she's like, yeah, you guys have an hour to try to, complete this task later. And then she leaves. And so everyone starts reading their skills, because they have a little screen in front of them, right? About what their skills are, what the task is, etc. And they all start leaving. And then the 4 people who don't have the powers, what about us? Well, you guys don't have powers, so you guys are a liability. So we're going to leave you here as bait. And, everyone just fucks off. And, Tomochika's all sad. What about my friends? There's no way they would agree to this. And they're like, no, they agree. They don't care. So everybody leaves.
What the hell?
And instantly, the 2 other people who don't have powers, they die.
What the hell?
And 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤, that's where he woke up. That's, where it leads to where we left off. And so he's like, well, if it was only the dragon and it's dead now, it should be safe to go outside. So 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤 and Tomochika, they go outside. And these 3 guys show up. And basically, they have a plan that they thought that 𝐦𝐨𝐫𝐞 was dead, and so they were gonna like revive her corpse, and it was gonna be like they were just gonna like puppet her around, and I guess it was gonna be like their sex slave, I guess, like really creepy.
Wow, what
And
the
because
heck?
she's still alive, 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤 is like, yo, you guys are trying to attack us. Well, he looks at one of the guys, he points at him and says, die. And they're like making fun of him, like, okay, like what's up with that? And then the guy just dies. And then the
What
other
the
guy that
fuck?
was also gonna attack them, he also says die. And that guy
What the
also
fuck?
dies. And like the only guy that's left is this fat guy. And he like is freaking out. And then 𝐦𝐤𝐤 explains that yeah, his power is that he can just like tell something to die and it instantly dies. So that's why his
What
power
the
is overpowered, as the title says. And then from here it gets really random where the fat guy, he explains that him and his friends, they had gone isekai like a few months earlier and had spent like a year in this world and gotten really like powered up. And that yeah, that's why they had all these powers and they knew about the world and stuff. But since 𝐦𝐤𝐤 is like super overpowered, he's begging for his life and he puts like this collar on himself and he has to follow whatever like the owner says. And
Yeah.
so 𝐦𝐤𝐤 just tells him like kind of like leave all his treasures and like go walk into the woods. And so he does.
What the fuck?
And yeah, basically this whole thing is just like a jerk towards the main character and how powerful he is and how cool he is. So, pretty standard for the isekai genre. However, I feel that I don't know if it's taking itself seriously or not. Part of me wants to say that it's a parody because some of the way that things are treated feels like they know what's up and they're making fun of like this type of anime, right? Like the reason he saves the girl, for instance, we find out it's like, oh, when she was scared and she was hugging him, her boobs felt nice on his arm. And so he's interested in her now.
What the hell?
Yeah, that's simple. It's not even like a childhood friend or the usual thing. It's just like even more ridiculous. And then like these guys that they were overpowered
He
because they
said
had spent like
Bobby.
a year here. And then it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, but this guy's more powerful. So it like makes fun of that. And his powers are super stupid where like no one can like compete because he can just tell them to die and they die. So the whole anime is just like people trying to like figure out ways around his power, but it doesn't matter because he's too powerful. So like I don't know. A part of me feels like they're purposely making fun of these types of anime. Like they're taking the piss out of it and it's all tropey and like ridiculous, that sort of thing. But at the same time, a lot of these anime, you would think they're a joke, but they're not. It's because they just love to like really, you can pretend you're the character, you're so cool, and like all that stuff, right? So I don't know. It's like the hottest trash fire this season, I think, or at least out of what I've seen so far and what I've heard
Yeah.
so far. It's super stupid, super over the top, but it's kind of entertaining and seeing how dumb and over the top it is. So your mileage may vary, but there you go. That was my instant death ability is so overpowered.
What the fuck? That's like the weird.
It's
My
super dumb.
yeah,
And
exactly. Everything
the character looks super stupid too. He's like your generic guy with dark hair,
yeah, I
dressed like a
saw.
school uniform. But
I'm
then he has
seeing
like
it, yeah.
he has like two little blue streaks of hair that stick out that look super stupid. So I don't know, man. Part of me thinks that they're just making fun of this type of genre.
I think
Part
they
of
might
me,
be.
but part of me thinks that no, they really do just want to be cool, and they just don't know how to be cool, so they're super like edgy and stupid. I don't know. I don't know, and that's part of what kind of I just don't know. But there you go. So if you want to
Wow.
check that out, it's over on High Dive. It's supposed to be 12 episodes, and we're already like about halfway through. So there you go.
Damn. But like the guy who fell in love with the girl just because her boobs touched his arm. That's
Yeah, because usually it would be like, oh, they're childhood friends, right? Or this and that. But it's like, no, they hadn't even really talked too much before, this and that. But he saves her because, oh, she her boobs feel nice. And like, I guess, we're in this together. So, I'm gonna save you and we'll see where this goes.
real.
Oh my god, it's so dumb. It's so stupid. Oh, and I didn't even explain all of it. You guys just have to see. Like, there's this little fat ghost that follows them around, super annoying, and so many things. But you can check it out for yourself.
Oh my god.
All right, going over to the other anime that I watched. That this was a good one. A while back, you guys might remember that we talked about some anime that was going to premiere on Adult Swim, and one of them was called Ninja Kamui. Right? I don't know if that kind of sounds familiar.
Oh, it kind of does.
Yeah, so basically, the best way to explain this anime, it's like if it was John Wick as an anime.
Oh.
Yeah, because there's this guy. His name is 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞, and it's this guy with like blonde hair, blue eyes, has like a beard, and he's living on a farm with his wife and son. And he has like a super peaceful life, but it's kind of hinted that, he has some sort of past and they're looking for him Because
Oh
when the
my
anime
God.
starts, there's this guy that's just walking, down like a busy, no, an empty, city street. And he says, "How did you guys know it was me?" As like these ninjas surround him, and then these ninjas just totally wreck him and kill him, right? And it's like you can tell they're like tracking down some sort of people, right? Like they have like a little database, right?
Yeah.
So 𝐥𝐤𝐤, he's having a peaceful life with his wife and son, and it shows his life, and he's like a farmer, and it's super peaceful, and it hints that there's something going on because on the news when they show that someone got killed and how they got killed, his wife says like, "Do you think it might be them?" And he says like, "No, there's no way that they would know about us, and like it's okay, don't relax." Until finally, it's going to lead to something. It's not going to be peaceful, especially if you've seen the synopsis. Yeah,
Yeah.
one day that he like gets up and he goes because he hears a noise. Some ninja are in his house. They break in and he kills them, or he is killing them until he hears his son yell from upstairs. And when he goes upstairs, lo and behold, his wife and son get they're dead. They get killed.
Oh yeah. This is just John Wick. Yeah.
And basically he looks like he gets killed as well. It's obvious he got like infected by some poison. That's why he like wasn't able to fight fully. And he also looks like he's dead. He even like is in the morgue and everything. However, he wakes up because I'm telling you, I think it's because it was a poison, right? He wakes up after they think that he's dead, and the doctors are telling him that he's lucky to be alive. That's a miracle that he had been pronounced dead, this and that. And when he gets asked about his wife and son, he gets told that they didn't make it, and so he's like crying and he's like all upset. And basically, the FBI they ask him if he knows who did this. He doesn't say anything, but the guy who it's like this black guy, older guy, and this girl with red hair. And he tells her, I think he knows who did it because he can like tell from the reaction. And so he says, "Yeah, we're gonna have to keep an eye on him." So he's like on the rooftop of the hospital. He's like in a wheelchair. He's just looking off into the sky. He's sad. And as the girl with the red hair is, kind of keeping an eye on him, the ninja, I don't remember if it was the ninja or if it was like a different, or if it was like, because they look like they were dressed a little different. And then people in the comments, they were saying that it looks like it might have been a different like faction, like the SWAT team or something. So I'm not too sure, right? I would have to go relook at it. But the point is, some other totally different team shows up to kill him. And at this point, he is getting his revenge because he is mad because his family got killed, right? And so he kills all these people in like brutal fashion. He even busts out some crazy ninja magic where he has like a weird smoke thing. And it allows him to like, it looks like teleport. His eyes are glowing. It's crazy. He is pissed off. He kills everybody. And it's implied the black guy saw what he did, but we don't really get too much of that, right? It then cuts to him back at the farmhouse. And he is, before that, the guy who it looked like he was the leader, he had like this like very unique looking face. He asks them like, who did it? And the guy isn't saying it. That's why I'm thinking that it is still the ninjas, right? But I don't know. I saw in the comments people said some different stuff, so I'm not too sure. Point is, this guy who's like the leader, he doesn't want to say. He just says like that of course they were gonna like know where he was, that it's impossible for him to hide or whatever. And that's where we see, because we had seen some electricity, like a weird little force field around his wife and son. We see that he's not actually this blonde guy with blue eyes. There's like this special color he was wearing that was like a cloaking device. And when he like rips off like his little special mask that he was wearing, we see that he's like a guy with like black hair, a little more Asian looking, and with like red eyes. And we see that, him and his family, they were wearing these collars apparently. And so it was some sort of like a cloaking device. That's what they were wearing. And they thought that they were safe. Get it? Because if not, you would think, oh, them just hiding. How would they ever think it was enough? It's because they had some technology to hide as well, right?
Yeah.
And so he takes off the mask, kills the guy in brutal fashion. The guy never doesn't tell him what's up. And we go to the farmhouse, John Wick style. He breaks down a wall, opens a chest that has like an Oni mask and a bunch of like his weapons and stuff. And he basically torches the farmhouse, walks away with the mask on, like his hood pulled down. And he's gonna go get revenge, basically.
Okay, yeah, this is just John Wick. Yeah,
it's basically John Wick.
Yeah,
but basically a very basic story up to now, where it's just gonna be like a revenge story because his family got killed. But the fighting was really good. The animation was really good. It looks like it's pretty cool. It looks like it's gonna be a very cool, interesting, a lot of interesting fights revenge story. So even though it's very simple, I like it, and I want to see where they go with this about how he tracks these people down and gets his revenge, and maybe what his backstory is of who is he, why was he running away, all that stuff. You know what I mean? So I recommend it. I thought it was really good. I thought it was simple but effective. And yeah, it's called Ninja Kamui. It's coming out on Adult Swim, but then afterwards you can watch it on, Max or whatever. So that's how I watched it.
Down.
Yeah, it was 12 episodes. It's supposed to be 12 episodes. It looks like it is coming out, weekly, but
Yeah.
I am excited to see where this goes. I like it, even though it's like really simple. It just looks very cool and very effective. So, it's I don't know. I'm excited to see where this goes. Ever since I had read the premise when we talked about it a while back, I was excited for it. But now I'm even more excited to just follow this every week and see where the story goes. It'll be pretty cool. So I recommend it, and I say go fight it, go watch it. If you can find it. So yeah,
Nice.
yep. So there you go. One bad anime and one good anime, and there you go. I still recommend both for just very different reasons. So check them out.
Yeah.
All right, that was it for our weeks. Very, very good. Moving on to the news, we have 3 news stories that are all very similar because they are all basically little updates about the business future of the 3 big video game companies. The 3 console people. It's basically an update on each of them. So, starting with the first news story, as the title of the article states, Microsoft bringing 4 games to rival platforms, Diablo 4 coming to Xbox Game Pass on March 28, and future Xbox hardware teased. So I don't know how many people had heard, but there was this rumor that when Phil Spencer, who's one of the guys, for Xbox, Microsoft, he had said that they were going to have like a business meeting where they were going to talk about the future of Microsoft. And it was really rumored that, with how they're porting a bunch of, games to different systems and, all that stuff, could it be that they're finally looking to leave the console market, right? Maybe they're going to become just publishers. And a lot of people were thinking that that's what they're going to talk about, right? Because it looks like, they haven't been doing too good in terms of the console market. And after this business deal, basically it says no. They're just, planning to bring more games to consoles. So when it says 4 games, they haven't said which ones yet, but people are thinking it's probably going to be Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, and maybe Pentiment and Grounded. That's kind of the idea of games that, the people are thinking are gonna come, right? Hi-Fi Rush, because those, already some supposedly, data mine leaks. Sea of Thieves, because it's a really big, game as a service game. So people are thinking they might want to put that on, other systems. And the other 2, I'm not really too sure why, but same thing. It's just like, I guess what makes the most sense, right?
Yeah.
And so there you go. For now, that's the idea. That's what people are thinking are going to be the games. Then Diablo 4, same thing. It's a big game. So, they're going to put it on Game Pass because of how they acquired Bethesda. So, okay, I guess that makes sense. No surprise there.
Yeah.
And then Xbox hardware, they just kind of said, we're working on stuff and it's going to be like a very big leap, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So honestly, a lot of people were expecting like a lot of big updates. Not so much. It's a lot of stuff that people were already either kind of guessing or it was stuff that's still very ambiguous, right?
Yeah.
The only thing is that people are saying that they think that they still could see Xbox leaving the console market. They feel that they keep porting all these games because it's them testing the water of how the other console, Sony and Nintendo, what they'll think of, embracing Microsoft's games, basically. So a lot of people still think that them leaving the console market is still possible, because especially how they put everything on PC, Game Pass is a whole thing. They still think that's still them testing the waters, basically, and they could still see them, leaving the console market. And when they say hardware, it might not be like a console. What if it's just something that does like Xbox, Game Pass exclusively or something? So a lot of people think that, even though the people are thinking that that's why everything was so ambiguous because they still think Xbox, Microsoft, they're still going to take things in a different direction in the near future. So
Yeah,
pretty interesting,
yeah,
it's kind of
pretty
weird,
interesting. Mhm.
but Microsoft, they've always been doing, they've been doing things like a very weird direction this last generation or two. So
Mhm.
it'll be one of those things to keep an eye out for to see what they do. Because might they leave the console market? There's a lot of hints that they might. There's a lot of hints that they might want to be just publishers, right? And
Mhm.
just kind of get Game Pass on other systems and stuff. So we'll just have to wait and see. But until then, stuff keeps coming to Game Pass, which is pretty cool if you have that. And a lot of their games are going multi-platform, which is pretty good if you're looking forward to some of those games. So it's just one of those things where, like I said, we'll just have to keep an eye out and see where this goes in the future. So there you go.
Yeah, we gotta see.
Yeah, when it comes to Microsoft, at least they're still putting games forward, even if they're not, a
Mhm.
bunch of exclusives and stuff. Not like this next story.
Company. Mhm.
As the title there states, Sony Interactive Entertainment will not release any new major existing franchise titles before March 31st, 2025.
Bruh.
So we've talked about it before that Sony has been
Mhm.
kind of disappointing, right? Like don't get me wrong, they've still put out some good games, right? Like, Spider-Man or God of War, stuff like that. But they've really like scaled back the stuff they do. Like we've talked about it during the PS2, they were like at the top of their game, man. They made like so many different games, so many different IPs. And a lot of those IPs are just dormant. Like we have not seen them in so long, right? And it
Mhm.
sucks that according to this, news story, yeah, they're working on stuff, but when it comes to big IPs like God of War, Spider-Man, stuff like that, no, we're just working on stuff. So it's going to be third-party stuff, Final Fantasy 7, how that's coming? Yeah, they'll do stuff like that, and they'll do stuff that maybe is like multi-platform, right? Like, we've talked about Death Stranding coming out. There's some games that they've talked about coming out that I think they're also supposed to come to like other systems. You can still expect that sort of thing. But when it comes to Sony exclusives, basically, yeah, there's not going to be any until 2025. Like a whole year. Like, are you serious right now?
Yeah, it's like Sony these past few years has been really weird.
Like, there's been
Like,
some games that are interesting that, like Resident Evil 4 Remake, for instance. That was a pretty good game that they put on PS5. But then
yeah,
it also came out
but
on PS4. So what's the point of, trying to get it for PS5, right? And there's so many things like that where like I've kept thinking about getting a PS5 because there's some games that interest me, right? Like Spider-Man, like Resident Evil 4 Remake, stuff that's coming soon, like Death Stranding, Final Fantasy 7,
Seven
Rebirth,
Rebirth.
stuff like that.
Hmm.
But then it just gets ported to other systems or it gets put on the PS4. So that's why, like, there's been no reason to get a PS5. Like, I think I was listening to, like, I don't remember who was talking about it, but there was like some sort of place where they were talking about it. If you look at games that are exclusive to PS5, games that have not been put on PC, have not gone multi-platform, have not been put on PS4, there's only 13 titles.
Hmm.
Think about how long the PS5 has been out. We only have 13 titles. And out of those 13, some of them are either VR or they're games that are like really like it's not like that they're not that good, not to be mean, right? Like it'll be like, oh, it was like some little racing Lego game or something, right? Which like no offense to like that that title, but it's something that's just like not like a console seller, right? So it's like, are you serious? There's only 13
Yeah,
games that are exclusive, and even then, some of them are like VR, which you'd have to buy like a whole other thing for it. Or some of them are titles that are just like not console sellers. So
and
it's like I do not know what Sony is doing, dude. Like I do not understand. Like they've really dropped the ball this generation. Where like I've thought about getting a PS5, like it sounds kind of fun for some of these games, but it's like not worth it, especially because like I just don't know. It's just so I did not know what Sony's idea is. I don't know if they just got so overconfident with how well they were doing with the PS4 that now they're really dropping the ball. It's baffling, dude. It's so baffling. It's so sad to see. Like a lot of these companies, the decisions they're making is like so. Oh man, like I just don't know.
yeah, I was gonna say like the only two games like of the 13 that are exclusive to like the PS5 PS5 that would be like the big ones would be like Spider-Man 2 and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Because currently on board for like the next few months, maybe like a year or two, I don't see a PC port existing because they just said it's gonna be on PS5 and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's only those two games, literally.
Yeah, literally. It's just like, oh man, I just don't know. It's just so, I just don't get it. It's just these companies, man, they don't want to do backwards compatibility really, but then it's okay because they have a lot of cool games to play, right? Like if you think about Nintendo, their backwards compatibility is kind of crappy, but at least there's so many things coming to Switch that at least it keeps you like going, right? It gives you a reason to like have the console. When it comes to like Sony, like a few games for PS5 and like for how expensive it is, like it's not worth it. It's just I
Yeah,
just don't
that's
know.
weird.
The only thing that's keeping it alive is stuff that isn't coming from them specifically. But like we said, maybe like, okay, like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Death Stranding, 2. But many games like that, they're like kind of exclusive, at least for a while, because I'm pretty sure they're gonna come to PC. That kind of at least makes your PS5 worth it. But besides that, Sony is just really dropping the ball, in my opinion. I'm just like really baffled by their decision to like do business this way. It's just so, so weird.
Yeah, that's very weird.
But there you have it. If you're hoping for more PS5 exclusives, apparently we're not really getting any like really big ones until next year, a whole year, which is ridiculous. So either wait, I guess, see what they cook up and hope it's worth it, or at least to play some of these other games that aren't like specifically from them. It's like more third party, but you're excited to play something like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Death Stranding 2, Spider-Man 2, stuff like that, I guess. So I don't know. There you go. It's just, shake my head, shake my head.
Yeah. I used to love you, Sony. Just
You make it so hard to love you. That's been like the theme for this episode, right? You make it so hard to love you.
yeah.
Because like freaking Darling and the Franxx, like I want to like you, but you make it so hard to love you with all your dumb bullshit.
Yeah.
And then, like I was talking about like the weird isekai edgy
Yeah.
anime, same thing, and just I don't know, man.
These companies now, yeah.
Yeah. All right, and finally, our last news story. As the title of the article states, rumor Switch successor not slated to launch until Q1 2025. So, this one is just a rumor, but if anyone's just kind of been following the rumors, been following the whispers out in the internet and stuff, a lot of people, we know a Switch 2 has to be coming. I don't think the Switch 1, I don't think it's gonna exist forever. It looks like we're winding down, right? So it looks like the Switch 2 is probably gonna come out any day now. It's gonna get announced sometime, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are thinking it's gonna be this year. It seems like it makes sense because we don't have that many more games coming out. There's just a few. It makes sense in terms of how long the Switch has been around, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are thinking the Switch 2 has to be coming sometime soon. However, according to this article, it appears that the Switch 2 may have been pushed back from this year until the next because apparently, there's this person that they tweeted that if you look at different sources and different people that supposedly have like dev kits, all this stuff, right? Again, it's just rumors, but based on, word on the street, it looks like a few different sources are saying that it might be getting pushed back until Q1 of next year because Nintendo wants to make sure that they have a lot of good launch titles, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it even got updated. Like if you read the end of the article, it says right here, update VGC, which I don't remember what VGC is supposed to stand for. It's some sort of source, right? It's some sort of like website or something, right? But it says here, update, VGC has updated its story, stating that it has heard from multiple sources who said Nintendo recently briefed publishers on an internal delay in launch timing from late 2024 to early 2025. One source said the delay was so that Nintendo could prepare a stronger first-party lineup for the new console.
Damn.
So it kind of makes sense because,
Mm-hmm.
okay, a lot of people are guessing Metroid 4. A lot of people are saying they think it got pushed back and it's going to be a launch title for the next system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. But what else, right? What else what else are they going to have as a launch title?
Tears of the Kingdom
It
HD
makes
edition.
it makes sense that, maybe it's because they really want to have, their next Mario, their next Zelda, maybe another Animal Crossing, Pikmin, I don't know. A lot of these titles that have done so well on the Switch, and that we know there's probably going to be another entry in the series, right? It makes
Mm-hmm.
sense that maybe they're kind of, they've been working on them, and maybe stuff that they haven't really announced yet, like another Mario title, right? Maybe they've really thought about it and they're like, okay, instead of making people wait because we announced the Switch 2 in 2024, maybe they're like, we're really close to like almost having it done, or we're making a lot of good progress. Let's push the Switch 2 back. That way, when it comes out, it'll either be coinciding with some of these new titles, or at least it's a shorter wait time. I think that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. I don't know what games they have in the works, but it makes sense that that could be the thought there, right?
Yeah, because that's what I was gonna say. Like that makes sense. Because think about when the Switch got announced. Switch, RIP to the original video. It was announced, and I still have the date recorded. Like maybe not the day it was. It was like in November of
Yeah.
2016. And how many months did it release? Like
It
December,
came out
January,
in,
4 months.
March.
Mhm,
Yeah.
so like 4 months later, they could literally pull a Switch move on the Switch 2 and announce this near like December, November, hell, even like September for all they want, because why not? And literally say, hey, a few months from now, there's gonna be a new like console, basically.
Yeah, could be. Could be. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
that could be their plan, right? That could be their plan. Again, all of this is rumors. We don't know for sure. For all we
Mm-hmm.
know, Nintendo might just announce the Switch and have it come out this Christmas, for instance. Or who knows? Maybe they'll announce it in quarter 1 and not have it come out to the summer. Like we have no way of knowing, obviously, but these are just the rumors, and a lot of it seems like it makes sense. It seems like okay, doesn't seem too far fetched. It sounds like it's a good idea if they really do want to wait so that they could have more first party launch titles or a lineup that coincides with the new system. All this
Mm-hmm.
feels like it makes sense. So. Like anything else that we've talked about, we'll have to wait and see where this goes. We'll have to keep an eye out for it, but it's just one of those things where like, man, it's just so crazy how much hype and how much like anticipation and all of this is, building around the next system. So
Yeah, we gotta wait.
yeah, I just hope that whatever they come up with, I hope it's really well done. I hope that it breaks the cycle of, how usually with Nintendo systems, it's like the first one, one does good, the next one does bad, and the next one is good, the next one is bad.
I hope this
Right?
breaks it, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, like I hope that this breaks it. And I hope, because I know Nintendo loves to be like super out there. I hope it's something similar to the Switch, but better.
Yeah.
Like, don't try to reinvent the wheel if it's not necessary. Don't do something totally out there that people end up being like, this is weird. I don't like it. It's like stupid. Like, just,
Add on to what exists already and make it
yeah,
better.
just make a Switch that is like better with like a better controller, better graphics. Maybe it makes connecting to the TV easier. Maybe it has some sort of a weird thing where you can mirror it onto like I mean, I don't think they'd go here. I don't think Intel cares, but like you can mirror it onto like your computer or something, like something that seems practical that people actually want, that's like useful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and then bring back stuff like more backwards compatibility, like
Like the
better
virtual. Mm-hmm.
better online, stuff like that. You know what I mean? I hope it's something like that and not some totally out there thing where it's like it's this device and it has like a little watch that you wear and get it because like it connects with the watch and like kind of like Pokemon Sleep, and you can
Exactly.
like play games and has integration for like your sleep or something, like some weird stuff that everyone's like, why? I don't care for this. You know what I mean? I hope it's stuff that people want.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was gonna say. Like that would be really dumb with stuff like that. Hopefully, it really is just like a Switch 2, like legit Switch 2, because that would be super cool. You know what I mean? And then like a band, like I can't believe like basically the Switch has been around for like 7 years now. I was like late middle school for me to like late high school. So like it's gonna be crazy entering a new era legit for me too. You know what I mean? Like so I'm just hoping that this next system's gonna be actually cool, you know.
Yeah, hopefully. Like I've been looking forward to it because I've really enjoyed the
Hmm.
Switch. And
I
I think
have.
there's been some really good games with the Switch, stuff that got revived that nobody expected, stuff that got ported that was really fun. New games that were really fun. Like it feels like
Hmm.
Nintendo's mostly in a good place right now. We've talked before, there's some dumb decisions they do here and there, right?
Yeah.
But mostly it's been like a pretty good run with this system, with this console. So I'm hoping the next one is good as well and doesn't disappoint us. So, again, though, we'll have to keep an eye out. We'll have to, see what happens. But at least right now, like I said, there's a lot of anticipation. So I hope that things go well, basically.
Yeah, that's what I hope too, you know?
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. So there you go. That is something to keep an eye out for.
Yep.
Alrighty, guys, and there you go. That's going to be it for the news, and that's going to be it for the podcast. If my looking over at the time is correct, this is going to be quite a long one because we spent a lot of time on Darling and the Franxx just
Oh
discussing
yeah.
it, and then
Hmm.
from there, I took a bit with the stuff I discussed, that sort of thing. So it should be a longer episode. We'll see how it goes, though. Final cut.
Hmm.
But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it was interesting to listen along and all our thoughts on Daria and the Franxx and these new anime and the news stories
Yeah.
for the different console companies and stuff. Before we leave, of course, as usual, what will we try to bring to the table next time? What do you
Uh
think? What do you think you might try to bring next time now that you finished Darling the Franxx? That was a big project, right? That was an
probably
ongoing
probably
thing.
probably uh either Gurren Lagann or I'm probably gonna like revisit like this time finally Tenchi Muya.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you're gonna see if you go back to something old or you tackle something new is what you're talking about when it
That's
comes
what
to
I'm saying.
anime.
Hmm.
All right. And then when it comes to games, anything on your mind? 'Cause I don't think there's anything
Uh
like really new coming out like anytime
nah,
soon, right?
I don't think so. That's the thing. Um Man, if only I had a P like it sucks. Why would I want a PS5 considering the stuff they've been doing? But because freaking the Final Fantasy VII
Rebirth.
comes out, or did it already come out? Wow.
No, it's supposed to come out, I think like it's soon. It's supposed to come out like really soon as of us
Man,
recording
that's
this,
what I'm
yeah.
saying. So I can like play that. But yeah, hey, for all I know, maybe in the meantime, even though I don't have to play this, I could play like the first part, or maybe just play the original Final Fantasy VII for no reason. I'll look into that. But maybe that too. You know what I mean? I might do something involving Final Fantasy VII.
All right, that works. That works. For me, I don't really know because I am always, watching anime here and there. I might go back. I think there's some that were like long ones, right? That I'd mentioned before that I think they might have finally ended. Um, yeah, I'll have to check if there's anything that maybe I had started and I talked about and I said, okay, it's been really long and I was following it for a while. Then I was like, okay, I kind of, fell off. I'll catch up once it ends. Maybe there's something like that. I've heard there's some really wild ones this season. I might check those out. They're supposed to be kind of like crazy. That would be interesting to talk about those. And when it comes to gaming, I don't know because I would love to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but same thing. I don't have a PS5 and everything we've talked about. I don't know if I just want to wait and see if it comes
Hmm.
out, gets ported sometime in like a few months, or like whatever.
It
So
comes to
yeah,
Switch too.
I don't, huh?
It comes to Switch too.
Right, right. Yes, I don't really know what I will bring to the table. Like, I'm guessing some sort of anime. I'm not really too sure what yet. And when it comes to gaming, I don't know. I can't really think of anything, so we'll see how it goes, I guess. But there you go. Obviously, we always have something to talk about. There's always surprises and that sort of thing. But for now, it'll be for sure some anime. We have some interesting ones in mind. And when it comes to gaming, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
There you have it, guys. Hopefully, this was a fun episode. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully, you guys have some ideas of stuff to check out, that sort of thing. We will try our best to be back next week. We will see how it goes. But until then, we hope you have a good one. Bye bye.
Bye bye.